2 reasons why Buddhists believe you need to live in the present moment. I'm going to give you 2 reasons why you should be living in the present moment and you should strive to do so every day. Here we go. Number 1, the first one is a quote from Thich Nhat Hanh, and I'm butchering his name, so I apologize in advance, but the quote says, "Life is available only in the present moment. If you abandon the present moment, you cannot live the moments of your daily life deeply." If you abandon the present moment, you cannot live the moments of your daily life deeply. This is a pretty big one for many benefits. It's not just a benefit to do so because we get rid of these worrisome thoughts, or we have a better way of dealing with these worrisome thoughts because we're more grounded in the moment. We have the capacity to release these thoughts, these negative thought currents, by being more grounded in the moment and having more stillness in our life, which I like to talk about. And I believe that stillness comes as a result of being in the present moment more, and even meditating, which we'll touch upon a little bit at the end of this video. But I like the second half of this quote equally as much, because it says, if you abandon the present moment, you cannot live the moments of your daily life deeply. So it shows us that we are just not living to our fullest unless we are living in the present moment. And I think that is so true. So we don't just want to live in the present moment to avoid some of these worries and these anxious thoughts, but it's also just for our enjoyment. We'll enjoy life better if we live in the present moment more. So that's number 1. Live in the present moment more and more deeply, and you're going to enjoy your life more. Now, like I said, it seems simple, and it is. It is simple, but some of us, or I should say all of us, really strive to be happier and to enjoy life more. This is a simple way we could do it through these stillness practices, meditation. And let's go to number 2. Number 2, another reason that Buddhists say you need to live in the present moment. It's another quote. This one coming to us from a book by Bukkyo Kyokai. Now, I'm sorry if I mispronounce his name, but the quote says, "The secret of health for both body and mind is not to mourn for the past and not to worry about the future." The secret of health for body and mind is not to mourn for the past and not to worry about the future. So here he is tying this in to health, to your mental health and your physical health. And there are some studies I looked into which show that meditation, which I think is a bit of a proxy for living in the present moment, because it can help us, it can lead us to living more present lives. Meditation is shown to reduce depression, anxiety, cortisol levels. These are all proven facts. These are all widely researched. So this is accepted research. But there's also some other newer research that shows meditation is actually for the brain, right? It is found to increase the white matter in your brain, and this portion of the brain is good for processing information. So there's reason to believe that these things can help prevent cognitive decline, perhaps even Alzheimer's and other things of that nature. There's going to be much more research coming out about this in the future, I would imagine. And there's an older study that talks about how meditation also increases the gray matter in your brain, which is connected to the memory, the emotional regulation, self-processing, and perspective taking in your brain. So potential increase in gray matter size in your brain, and also potentially an increase in white matter in the brain. But on top of that, we already know that meditation reduces stress levels, cortisol, anxiety, and depression symptoms. That alone should be enough for you to dive right in for your mental health, but also potentially for your physical health, as we're looking at. And we know already as well that stress levels, cortisol levels, depression, and anxiety can lead to other chronic illnesses, or can increase your chance of other illnesses by lowering your immunity. This is another thing that's been looked at by science and is scientifically accepted. The fact that higher stress can lead to more disease, more illness. Now, last but not least, we're going to look at a simple technique that you can use to mitigate some of your worries and anxieties about the future. This is something I learned about recently, and I believe it was somewhere on Instagram. Someone was talking about it, and feel free to follow me on Instagram at Vital Psyche, same name as the YouTube channel. This is a little trick, right? Because a lot of times we have worries about the future. And we worry about, a lot of times we have worries about the future. We worry about what ifs, right? That's what I like to call them, what ifs. Because that's exactly what they are. We worry, what if this happens? What if that happens? What if something goes wrong in this way or in that way? Well, this is a waste of our energy. We all do it, right? We're never going to completely eliminate it, but we can mitigate it, and we can help to regulate those patterns and basically institute healthier patterns in our life and in our thoughts, right? We're thinking thoughts all the time, thousands. I think I mentioned in my previous video up to 60 or 70,000 thoughts per day. So helping to change some of those thoughts to more productive thoughts is key. And you may remember I also mentioned you can't just try to erase a thought. You want to try to replace that thought with something more productive. And in this case, instead of saying what if, say if then, right? So you turn the what if into an if then statement. So instead of saying, what if I lose my job? You say, if I lose my job, then I'm going to go ahead and start looking at options here. I'm going to start putting in resumes there, and so on and so forth. It's a little plan that you set up. So instead of, here's another example, instead of saying what if I lose my relationship, instead of saying that, you could say, if I lose my relationship, then I will do this, and so on and so forth. And it can apply to anything, anything you're worried about. The reason this is so effective is because it turns our worries, which is something sort of fearful and destructive, really, into something creative or productive, because we're then creating a plan, we're preparing something, we're producing a preparation in our mind. So we are turning it from a sort of from a worry to a potential plan. And don't overdo the planning, don't prepare too much, because then you'll start worrying about that. But just, you could turn the what if into an if then statement. That's a simple trick, a simple hack to sort of deal with some of these future anxieties about the future. Thank you for joining me, guys. Give us a follow and a subscribe. Bye.